The other day, I met an individual who reminded me of myself 30 years ago, and it startled me. He relished in the belief that no matter what the consequences, you must never back down when you know you're right. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk because it made me sad, and I'll tell you why.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
One of the benefits of being raised by a Marine was that I was taught the meaning of courage. My father was a corpsman in not one but two wars, and the courage he displayed was beyond imagination. At an early age, my father demanded I learn how to be courageous as well. I was willing to do anything to win my father's favor, so I eagerly complied. This trait was instilled in me, and it's something I'm fiercely proud of. It served me well most of the time. When I was pushed, I pushed back. When I was shouted at, I shouted back. And when I had the right answer, I fought like heck to be heard. But each push, shout, and fight came at a cost, the most severe of which was the cost of being right. It's amazing how many business schools miss this simple message. As a business major at the University of Maryland, I learned the principles of business, economics, accounting, statistics, and so much more. But one thing I was never taught was about the real world politics of business. Without a teacher, I was left to my own instincts and the instincts of my father. Those instincts served him well in the Marines. They also served him well in his career as a salesman. He was a damn good salesman, but he never really had to deal with corporate politics. When you work for an organization that's driven by sales and you outsell those around you, as he did, there are no politics. I had no use for company politics and took pride in being known as a guy who would never be silent when he knew he was right. I welcomed the price for being right because I knew the courage it took to do so. I battled management when I knew I was right, and I battled my coworkers when I knew I was right. I might even dare to admit that a part of me, deep down inside, enjoyed it. One of my favorite sayings was this: when I'm no longer on this earth, they're going to put on my tombstone, "This man never backed down when he knew he was right." Oh, I wore my beliefs like a badge, and I carried that mantra with an enormous level of satisfaction. I was wrong. I felt that others viewed me as a courageous person, and I thought I was respected because I had the nerve to say what I believed. Looking back now, I'm quite sure many did not view it that way. I believe I was viewed as a person who did not fit into the machinery of the corporation, and therefore I was an obstruction to the organization. The corporation put up with me because I worked hard and consistently exceeded the expectations that were placed on me to do my job. But the truth is, I was operating within an uneasy truce with those around me. I became disenchanted with the tension that being right seemed to create in others, so I became an entrepreneur. If you ask me why I left Xerox, I know I could give you a number of reasons why. The real truth is that I left Xerox so I could be right. For those who want to pay the price for being right by either leaving or feeling the indignity of being asked to leave, it seems that a common answer is to become an entrepreneur. It's an answer, but it's not necessarily the right answer. In my case, I wasn't courageous and I wasn't right. I was lucky. If I could jump back into the Wayback Machine, sit down with a young, starry-eyed Rob Jollis who was heck bent on being right, I'd tell him a few things that he needed to hear. I'd tell him not to confuse the courage to stand up for what you believe in with the proper time and place to take that stand. I tell him not to confuse the pride of ownership of an idea or a belief with the importance of being a functioning, supportive team player who can support the idea of others. I tell him not to confuse accepting the rejection of an idea I put forth with selling out. And I tell him to stop focusing on what's written on his tombstone and instead learn to focus on having the courage to be wrong sometimes. When you go to a job interview, you want to be seen as someone who's a team player. You want to let them know you can support the idea of others and that you understand there's a time to be right and a place to be right. This isn't taught in business classes, and I can't find a Wayback Machine. All I can do is work within the present and try and spare others the misfortune of confusing being right with being an asset to a company and a team. Forget about tombstones and remember that being right can come at a severe cost. If you paid that price, learn from it and evolve. It's never too late to learn how to be wrong.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.